Hello everyone, this is Simon Stevens from Inception Designs, and in this video we're going to talk about the rubber tips on our bolts and how to fit those to your guns. These are standard rubber tips from Planet Eclipse, and we found some interesting things when we're using these in autocockers. There's been many different autocockers bodies over the years, different manufacturers, different batches, and so we found some slight deviation in the bores of the guns, which means that you may need to actually fit the rubber tip into the bore of your gun by lightly sanding it. We actually have been offering two different size bolts to help make sure you get the right fit to your gun, but occasionally, because of the tolerances with the rubber, the tolerances with the install, the tolerances with the bolt, the tolerances with the gun body, you might need to take just a little bit more rubber off the bolt tip. It's interesting because when you use one of these in a closed bolt gun and the gas burst fires, it actually expands that tip into the breech, and then with a closed bolt gun you're actually pulling it back, so it's a worst case scenario for sometimes making the bolt tips come off. But by making sure that it fits correctly, that it's glued on correctly, you'll be able to get the best performance. And there is a huge advantage to using one of these rubber tips, which is why it's worth this little bit of extra time to make sure that everything fits and works the way that it should. Now if I bring it up to the camera, you can see just here where the tooling line is. Now this tooling line leaves just a little bit of an edge, and this is really all we're going to need to take off. So we're going to sand off this little bit of a lip here, and then just a little bit further up to where the transition to the front angle is. So it's very, very little that we're looking to take off. The rubber bolt tip should always be slightly larger than the bolt. The bolt's designed to be slightly smaller. You should never have to sand the dowel end of the bolt. It's only the rubber tip that you're going to be sanding. Now, one of the things to be wary of when you're actually fitting this to the gun body is to make sure that it's the rubber tip that you're feeling the friction of and not the O-rings. So on this bolt we've actually removed the valve O-rings to make sure that when we're test fitting it into the gun body, it's not friction on the valve O-rings we're feeling, it's just the rubber tip. And then obviously you can adjust the friction of the rubber O-rings by using different O-rings that are stretched slightly, metrics, or by using slightly more worn O-rings. But these O-rings are very important to make sure you're getting the best efficiency, the quietest gunshot, and the best performance. So you are going to need to put those back on before you start using the bolt, but in this, to make sure we're getting the right fit, we've taken them off and we're going to talk about just sanding the tip of the bolt. So if I transition over, okay, now you can do this with just a piece of sandpaper by hand, put it around the bolt, just twist the bolt, twist the sandpaper and bring it down. I like using a little Dremel. This is a fine grit sanding disc on the Dremel. It's the finest one that I had, and you're just going to want to go slowly and very delicately with it. To start off with, we're going to just sand down that little bit of a lip at the back, and then we're going to do just a little bit more to come up to that transition line where the angle is. I'm going to try and keep this on camera as I do it and show you what I'm going to do. Start the Dremel. So that's the start of the process. And you see that we've just taken off a little bit of the rubber at the back. We haven't gone all the way up to that transition yet, but we've taken off where that flashing line is. Okay, so we've taken the flashing line off, and now I'm just going to go a little bit more. And hopefully now you can see on the camera that we've just come up to where that angle, the transition in the angle is. And that's all that you need to take off. So now put it into your gun body. Check how it feels. Because we've just sanded the rubber, it should feel just a little bit tight. But then what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of oil. You're going to put a drop onto that rubber. Smear it round. And then it should be good. With an autococker, obviously you want this to be a little bit of a tighter seal. With a pump gun where you might want less friction, you might want to take it down just a little bit more. But go gently, go delicately, and just a little bit off. You're not going to want to take anything off of the Delrin bolt, and you're not going to want to take anything off of where the radius then goes in the transition to the angled tip of the bolt. You're only taking a little bit off of the back rubber, and it's very, very little that you're taking off. Okay, so then once you're happy with how that fits into the breech, you're going to put your O-rings back on. And again, just a tiny bit of this fantastic Outlast KC trouble-free oil onto those O-rings. Wipe it round, and then you should be good. Just transition so you can get a better view on the other camera. So hopefully you can see there. Come on, camera. Focus for me. Come on. It doesn't want to focus. It wants to focus on me from behind. Put it in front of my logo, see if that does it. And I can't see anything. Hopefully you can see we're just sanding this tiny, about 1/8 of an inch wide part of the bolt between there and there. And then that will work absolutely fantastically in your gun. Okay, have any questions? Post them in the comments. Let me know. Thanks, guys. Oh, one other really important thing. Make sure that you have glued your bolt tip onto your bolt before you do this. We recommend using go-to glue, available very easily through Home Depot, Amazon, Walmart. And the reason why we recommend gluing the bolt tip on first is because gluing it on may make it just slightly larger diameter, because there's a little bit of glue between the bolt and the bolt tip. So we recommend gluing the bolt tip on. It takes 24 hours to set, so leave it for 24 hours and then do the fitting to your gun body. Now, you don't have to fit all the tips to all the gun bodies. A lot of the times they go through and they fit perfectly and they're absolutely fine as they come from us. It's just sometimes those tolerances mean that you do need to fit it to get rid of that extra little bit of friction. So this isn't something you always have to do, but if you do have to do it, it's worth the couple of seconds it takes. And follow in the video. I'll do another video just showing you how to glue the bolt tips on as well. Alright, so glue the bolt tip on, then you just sand it down. Thanks a lot, guys.